2021 2021 has been very hectic for us. We had a number of webinars, meetings, and also interactions, lot of activities. So this was but we had very bad taste in the sense that we could not meet each other. All our activities had online. We could not organize activities face to face. So we hope in 2022, we will be able to have more face-to-face activities, our exchange programs, and also we will be able to meet each other more frequently in 2022. I hope so. First of all, I like to request all the country coordinators here and all the participants. If you are a country coordinator, please write country coordinator. If you are a teacher, write teacher in front of your name. And if you are a student, write a student, because GIO is very interested to find out that how many teachers, how many students, and how many countries joining our webinars. Because the last webinar, we had 95 participants. That was great. And the participation number is very high in our region, because our region is very active. Okay, please do write your status. Like if you are a country coordinator, you are a teacher or a student. Okay, please do that. And this year, in the month of December and November, we submitted 3 Globe Stars. That is really great. One was on what was done by Thailand on their activities, and one was contributed by the school in India for one student, one tree, where they plan to plant 25 trees before the end of the month, or this year you can say. And Globe Vietnam has submitted 1 Globe Star. Thank you, if you are around here, for doing this. And I request all the country coordinators, please, please, please contribute to Globe Star before the end of the month, or I can say end of the year. We have around 2 years. It takes very little time. There is a format. They ask you 3 questions, couple of lines, and the information which you have to provide, and some couple of selected photographs. Please do that and send a Globe Star. And I have sent a request to the country coordinators to please send the country report, because the country report is required for our regional meeting, which is going to happen in the last week of January next year, 2022. And I'm sure that all of you have received the invitation sent by Globe Thailand. I hope, have you received it? Yes or no? David,
Yes.
have you received the invitation?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Yogenda? Okay. Please do send the country report so that we can compile as we have done like last time. And you also have received the program and the link for the website and so and so. Okay, that's great. Then next year, we plan to have a regional GLE, because really we have been missing a lot of face-to-face activities. And I will be requesting Rod, if he's around here, to host the regional GLE next year along with the regional meeting, sometimes in Philippines. And we will start, at least we start discussion now so that we can finalize the program. And okay, this is what I wanted to have a discussion with you. And I request Hina, we have a 2 minutes video on microplastic
Hmm.
prepared by a student from India. Can you please play that video?
Just sure.
Yeah, sure. And please, if you have any question, please put in the chat box so that we can have some discussion on that.
So here's the video.
Hello friends, in this video we'll share that how the theme
There is
of
someone.
eco-friendly engineering gave us the idea of zero plastic waste. In the following seconds, we'll present a unique idea which can contribute to our Mother Earth. As whole, schools are full of potential hub which can create or execute any idea on a large canvas. Being one of many paintbrushes, let me show you how. The waste generated by the school bodies or any professional institute is really being recycled. The number says that there are 5,000 schools with 20 lakh of students studying in classes between 6th to 12th in only Delhi. If we take use of one pen per head consumed within 1 month, this will give us 240 lakhs of pen in a year. Yes, you got that right. We do have this Mount Everest of waste. Have you seen this? You can find it if you will pass through the NH24 Gazipur.
Yes, it is easy to throw the used pen and say I have completed my job. But the real journey of that pen starts when we dumped it in a wrong way. The moment we throw the pen into roads, drain or any such places where it gets difficult to recycle it or dispose it completely, then it becomes hard to resist it from getting into our food chain. Food chain? Yes, let me tell you. All the pens and refills are made up of metal tips and are filled with ink, which contain lead in it, which is a harmful substance. And when we throw it on our landfills or waterways, its toxic substance are usually consumed by an organism.
The question is how we can minimize this school waste. To which the answer is first step is to replace the plastic with eco-friendly things as much as you can. The step is to get the most out of it if you have used it already. We have cleverly researched and worked on every possible strategy to find out how we can apply all the 5 R's to create zero plastic waste zone in our school. Let me conclude all that for you. Our aim was to create a zero plastic zone in our school. We collected all the pens, pen cap, broken rulers, used sketch pen, file covers, cracked DVDs. Now comes what we did with all that plastic. As following the R's, we reuse them as much as possible. We refuse to buy the new ones until they get completely exhausting. We collected more like these as Eco Club representative to repurpose them and create duster base, chalk box, pen stand, wall clock, paper weights, photo frame, wall hangings, and a lot of decorative items. The point is that if you will brainstorm a bit more, you can create your next study tables with these bins. As this was just a small percentage of how we can get rid of the already created and existing plastic while trying to stop the creation of new ones by refusing them. Think about.
Thank you very much, the kid. You have done wonderful activity. And why we show you this? Because we want to encourage you, all the students, younger friends, to take initiative. And if you have anything to show, please share with us so that we can learn from each other. And the idea is to encourage the students on these activities, what they have been doing. Thank you very much. And I will suggest the school to prepare a globe star. And if you need any help from RCO, we will be happy to help you. Okay, now we are going to have a presentation on how I do share. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah,
Okay.
you have
Okay,
to.
we are going to have some discussion on microplastic, and this is a awareness activity. As you have seen in the video, plastic is becoming a nuisance, and this has become a nuisance in most of the countries around the world. And this is not only in India or in Delhi, this is almost around everywhere. Plastic has become a nuisance. Okay, let me first of all explain you the microplastic in water bodies is not a globe protocol. But we are promoting this in the Pacific region because we found that microplastic is a serious issue in many of our countries here. And we have started some of the awareness activities. Like one of them is the microplastic, mosquito, soil, water bodies, and also the tree campaign. And microplastic is one of them, as many of us in many countries are interested on microplastic activities. So maybe next few days, next few years, this may become a globe program like one of the protocol, but at the moment, microplastic is not a globe protocol. What we are going to discuss, what is microplastic? What is at risk? Why we should be concerned about this? What are the significant sources of this microplastic and the plastic? And what can we do? Which is very important is that what we can do into this microplastic issue. First of all, let us see that what is microplastic. Microplastic are small, like we see microplastic and the plastic. The difference is that microplastic is the small pieces of plastic. We throw plastic around everywhere. The bottles we use, the toothpaste we use, even the washing machine discharge a lot of microplastic. So that the teeny particles, which are very small, 1 to 5 millimeters length, which may not be able to see with the naked eye, and we may have to use the microscope. Such small particles are the microplastic. We can remove the plastic by physical activity, but microplastic is very dangerous in the sense that we cannot see. Even there may be microplastic in the water, and we may be drinking that water. Like the water bottles we are using, may contain microplastic. So that the microplastic are very teeny, very small plastic particles which are present in our oceans and aquatic ecosystems, which are really becoming sometimes very dangerous. Straightforward, we can see they are the teeny plastic particles. When we throw the plastic bags or any plastic into the water bodies or throw into the roadside or anywhere, by the activity they are crashed and become into smaller and teeny particles, and they get into the water bodies, and that becomes a very serious issue which we are going to discuss. Some marine researchers define them as being anywhere than 1 millimeter to 5 millimeter. They are too small to be filtered. You cannot filter them. They are too small. There are two types of microplastic, primary and the secondary. The primary one is the one which we throw into the water. And the secondary are the one which are broken from the bigger particles to the smaller particles, and which are more dangerous because we cannot see them. We don't have any idea, like they are tasteless. We cannot taste them. Even the water which we drink, we have microplastic. What are the environmental risks there? They will accumulate in the water bodies, and also they will be there for a long time. The microplastic do not break very fast. They will be in the water bodies for a long time, and the fish eat them thinking that is a phytoplankton, and they get accumulated into the body of the fish. So that is the fish consume microplastic, and many of the other animals, the marine, they understand that, get into the marine food chain, and they ingest, they digest, they may not be able to digest them, and they are there accumulating in their bodies. So that they are affecting the water quality, the quality of the fish, and the marine animals which are eating them, taking into their bodies, understanding that is the food. We cannot see these phytoplanktons with the fish. She can see the phytoplanktons. Half of the plastic in the marine environment is beyond, but others are the one which are getting settled into the sea floor, affecting the sediment dwelling species. Some of them get into the water, but most of that also get into the sediment, settle into the water bodies, which change the soil quality, which change the ecology of the water bodies. The water really get changed, and also the bottom of the water bodies get accumulated with the microplastic. Plastic debris serves to transport different organisms outside the natural habitat because they will be coming out of the water bodies. And we can see that the problem is not only to the water, problem is the chemical composition also change of the water. The marine life also change. The soil at the bottom of the, which support the plant life also get change. So that is the environmental risk they are there due to the microplastic. The chemical risks. When plastic is exposed to the plastic is exposed to the ultraviolet rays in water, it releases harmful chemical compounds not found in the nature. The ultraviolet rays, they change the quality of the water due to the decomposition and the change of the microplastic in the water. Otherwise, the substances which are not present in the water, they get accumulated, they get dissolved into the water, and that change the chemical composition of the water and becomes very harmful. A common component of food containers has a negative effect on both fetal development and the adult hormones levels. This not only change the chemical composition, but also the human or the animals or whatever the composition of the body is also changed because the hormones level get changed due to the microplastic in the water bodies. Carcinogenic is very dangerous. That is an agent directly involved in causing cancer. Sometimes if we take hot food and that hot food we take into the plastic container, then we have been told that, oh, this is harmful because due to the heat, some carcinogenic material get dissolved into the food, and that becomes very serious and may cause sometimes cancer, which is very serious issue, which we have to really realize. Persistent organic pollutants. Organic compounds resist to environmental degradation. They are pollutants that do not deteriorate, means they do not decompose, and they them biomagnify and bioaccumulate, like sometimes they get accumulated mercury and so get into the fish, and that becomes very harmful and have the effect on the human health. Harmful chemicals may also attach to the plastics in the water. So they become the carrier of the harmful chemicals into the water bodies. Chemicals can leach into the organisms that indigest the plastic. So that plastics, microplastic change the ecology of the water body, the bottom of the sedimentation they change. They have the effect on the animals, the fishes and other organisms which are growing there. And they carry with them the harmful chemicals like mercury attached to the microplastic eaten by the fish to the human body becomes very serious issue. And if the water contains mercury, then I am sure that if you have heard a disease like Minamata disease, Minamata disease happened in Japan, and that is like an environmental monument where quite a number of people, maybe hundreds of people, they died. Some of them, they had paralysis. Some of them, they had genetic disorders and so and so. And we realized that mercury is one of a serious pollutant, ethyl mercury in the water. And microplastic can be responsible carrying mercury with them into the water bodies, which becomes a serious issue. And that is why we have been looking microplastic as a environmental issue in our region. Ever wonder how much plastic is in our oceans? Have we really thought of this? We had a discussion. Rod said that Bay of Manila is full of microplastic. So it is quite a large amount of microplastics are there in our water bodies. Oceans are bearing the brunt of our having quite a large number of plastic, and we have been told that something like 8 million species of plastics pollutants find their way into our oceans every day. So that is quite a large number. 12 million tons of plastic are poured into oceans every day, like microplastic and the plastic. 5.25 trillion micro and microplastic pieces are floating in the oceans. Opening the oceans really have quite a easy, look like very easy way to dispose the microplastic, but we can see that the amount of plastic pieces and the plastic floating into the ocean is really quite serious issue. And that is how we have to sometimes understand that how to really mitigate our oceans from the plastic waste. Life cycle of the microplastic is the same as like the what we have got what you call as rain and the snow, water cycle. When there is a water cycle in the atmosphere, like what we learn in the classroom, they also carry with the microplastic, and then the microplastic coming to the ocean, coming to the land to the ocean. So this cycle continues, and that becomes quite a things to understand and needs investigation. At the moment, there is not much of the studies that how much microplastic get into the ocean and then how much get back to the land again and so and so. So this picture shows the life cycle of microplastic. How we can solve this problem? Now we try to understand this is a problem, serious problem, and how we can solve this problem. I'm very sure some of these items which you see here are very familiar. You can see water bottles, fresheners, juice bottles, containers, so and so, hair oil bottles, and so, like. These are some of the, the containers where the water that is there. Domestic use of microplastic. They are found in toothpaste, body wash, shampoos, and also primary microplastic is in toothpaste, body wash, eventually wash from the body. Carcinogenic, an agent directly involved in causing cancer. Secondly, microplastic would be plastic.
Screen
Will be microplastic bottles or containers, any broken down small pieces and which get broken into the small pieces. Harmful chemicals may also attach to the plastics in water. Chemicals can leach into the organisms that ingest the plastics. We can see that how this plastic is being attached to the food and how that is being affecting the environment. Now we look into microplastic production in Asia and Pacific. Asia is the most populous continent in the world. We are the most populous. And most Asian countries are the developing countries which are facing serious environmental issues, problems. We are the maximum number of people on the globe, and we have many serious environmental problems. According to the data from plastics, Europe, world production of plastic is more, and that is the Europe is producing more and more plastic, which is around in 2014. Then it was 111 million. And we found that in 2004 and 2014, there is a 38% increase of microplastic in Europe. China and Japan are the two leading countries with the highest plastic production in Asia. Unfortunately, many of the countries, we don't have the data, like for example, in India, we don't have a data. China and the Japan are the most producing two leading countries producing the highest plastic production in Asia, accounting for 26% and 4% of the world's total production in 2014. Like in 2014, it was something like 26% of the total produced in the world. Plastic production in the rest of the Asia accounting for 16% of the world production. And altogether, Asia produces nearly half of the world's plastic materials, which was in 2014. The information and the data which we have is 2014, and we have been producing around 16% of the total world production of the plastic, which is quite high. Among the top 20 countries ranked by the mass of mismanaged plastic waste, all of them are developing countries except the USA. Most of the plastic produced which are not managed, the mismanaged is by the developing countries. Except USA is also, there is a lot of mismanaged plastic waste, which has the highest waste generation rate, but the lowest percentage of mismanaged plastic waste. 12 Asian countries were on the list, with China, Indonesia, and the Philippines ranked at the top. So these three countries like China, Indonesia, and the Philippines have been producing quite a lot of plastic and then the microplastic. The percentage of mismanaged plastic waste among these Asian countries varied from 1% to 27 around 28%, which is quite high. As a result, the environmental release of plastic waste is more likely in these Asian countries. And the Maldives has been the highest level of microplastic pollution on the planet. That is what the study shows, that although the Maldives is a very small country with many of the islands countries, and according to the article in journal Science, that total around Maldives is the most polluted by our sun. Like here, the top countries polluting the oceans is like China, Indonesia, Philippines, Egypt, Thailand, Malaysia, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Brazil, United States. We don't have information for many other countries, like for India, for example, we don't have information. Australia, New Zealand, and many of these countries we don't have, but we can see these are the top countries polluting the oceans with the mismanaged plastic waste entering into the sea. Philippines, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Thailand. Okay. Share of ocean plastic that comes from the largest in meeting the rivers. The rivers carry the plastic waste. And here we see the river in Philippines. Is road around here or join? Okay. And we see one river here, Ulhas River in India, which is a very small river. It's not even a river. It's a very small, like the river or something. It's not a very big river. but there are number of industries are there, and that also carries a lot of waste. Like that is number 3. One is in Philippines, then Malaysia, India, Philippines. The Philippines is really very high. Then the Ganges, which we consider to the very pure water, we worship this water and so on. So again, Philippines. So these are some of the rivers which are really emitting micro waste into the ocean. Distribution of microplastic in near shore sediment along Kanyakumari coast 2020. That is, Kanyakumari is the place in Indian Ocean, like on the what do you call the last southernmost part of India. That is Kanyakumari, which is close to Sri Lanka, like, and then we can see that how the microplastic is near the shore, how it is being distributed. Like we can see that how it is increasing and decreasing, and how it is becoming a serious issue and serious problem into our oceans. Distribution of microplastic. Here we see that the microplastic, if you look into Asia, we find only that is near the Japanese Ocean, that is there. And most of the oceans, they don't show, like some of the Arabian area, and then number of microplastic, 250 milliliter, like in sediment, like this is the distribution, and then how this distribution is shown here. How we are consuming microplastic, which is very important, that how it get into our body and how we are using this. The most common sources of plastic ingestion are our drinking water, seafood, sea salt, and beer. Those who drink beer, they are consuming more microplastic. So we have to be careful for that. Then with the water, it goes into the seafood and so and so. It is estimated that we consume between 74,000 to 121,000 microplastic particles per year, and drinking bottled water could add an extra 90,000 particles to that number. So those we drink water, like anywhere we go, we drink bottled water. But this study shows that we are adding microplastic to our body. Like I remember in India at the railway station, when we wanted to drink the water, there used to be a earthen pot where the water was available, and we used to drink that water. Now when we go to the railway station or to the airport or to the market, the first thing what we do, we buy a bottle of water. And even when we go anywhere, we buy a bottle of water and we drink the water. But that water may contain so many number of microplastic pieces you can see here. The second largest source of microplastic is shellfish, those who eat fish. Microplastic are now found in a wide range of sea animals, which can often mistake plastic for food. As I mentioned before, the fish, they understand that this is a microplastic species as their food, like microorganisms, and that get accumulated into their bodies, and then when we consume that, microplastic get into our body. And research shows that our land and agriculture are receiving a significant dose of microplastic from improper composting Due to mainly to lazy composting at the individual's level, plastics are ending up into our compost, which goes on to become fertilizer for our food supply. How this from through the soil, from the agriculture, uh, microplastic get into our food chain is also very significant, and we have to understand that how dangerous it could be. And these plastics then break down, and we are left with microplastics that get accumulated in our bodies, and that really becomes very harmful for us. How much plastics we are consuming? The research is still in the early stages. We don't have much of the information that how much one bottle of water, for example, contains microplastic, or how much get through the food chain, how much get through the soil. So, but the research is still in not complete. And while the recent study placed consumption at approximately 5 grams per week, the amount of plastic in the credit card line. It only looked at items that make up approximately 15% of our caloric intake, like fish, shellfish, salt, sugars, alcohol, water, and air. So there are small microplastic pieces in the air also, in water, alcohol, of course, I said beer. The other 80% of our diet, we are looking and waiting for the studies to be completed. So we getting microplastic, how much it goes into the body, how it goes, what effects are there. Still some studies are going there. What can you do? This is very important. As a citizen, as a human being, which affect us so badly, what we can do? Well, there is no doubt that large-scale change and advancement are necessary to properly tackle our global plastic crisis. There are still many individual changes we can make. What are the individuals we can do? What are the individuals we can do? And then we have to develop some activities, some action, and some, like even we are not sure how to measure it, like how much plastic is there that we have to identify, we have to develop, resources like how we can really reduce the plastic. When it comes to your personal consumption, a logical first step is to reduce intake of the top microplastic culprits. Like we have to reduce the intake of the individual. I have to really understand how microplastic going into water body, and I have to reduce that sort of activities. Maybe stop drinking bottled water. I'm not sure. Okay, so how to reduce the intake of the microplastic in my as an individual? That is very important, and I have to understand that. That we can also take steps to reduce the amount of plastic we consume. The reduction of the plastic.
Of
We
your
can
classes
reduce
tomorrow.
plastic. We have to
And
reduce the plastic. Reduce the plastic. We start in the morning. Use the toothpaste, contains plastic. We have breakfast in a plastic plate. We eat with a plastic spoon. So many things, like we take out the bread out of the plastic bag. We take the milk out of the plastic, plastic bag. So the plastic has become a part of our life. But also we have to understand that this plastic is not healthy for us. It may some of the teeny particles, the microplastic, what we call, get into our bodies, get accumulated. One unexpected culprit of microplastic is synthetic clothing. As I mentioned that, the clothes we are wearing, nylon, terylene, they are also contains a lot of microplastic. When they are washed into the washing machine, we can take some example of the washing machine, water coming out and then see under the microscope and can see the plastic fibers there. And then these are also some of the issues which we have to really address. And this synthetic clothing releases microplastic into the water during production and when you wash them into the laundry. Switching to natural material like organic cotton and linen is a great way to minimize your plastic use and carbon footprint. But how much like cotton we can use, khadi, what we call in India, and also we can see that environmental friendly clothing, if we can start using, then we can reduce the plastic intake into our body. We are in the early days of understanding the effects of microplastic on our health and our environment, and there is still a lot of work to be done before we have a clear idea of the true impacts. As I mentioned before also, we need more and more research. We need more and more activities to be done so that we can see that how this impact of this microplastic on our human health and the environment can be reduced. We need to have some more research to be done on this. However, Asia Pacific Regional Office is taking it as a positive that the important issue is beginning to get the awareness and research it deserves. We feel that people have started realizing that microplastic is an issue which is really have a great concern, and we feel that some activities, some research, and then some catalytic role which we can play in minimizing the impact of microplastic and the use of microplastic can be done, and then we can start some activities in our region. And that is one of the reasons that we have started microplastic as one of the awareness activity. As I mentioned, we have microplastic mosquito, which has also very health issue, very required actions, soil, tea campaigns, and the microplastic, we have been taking it as a positive note in the sense that we have started awareness activities on this microplastic, and I'm sure that many of our countries, they will have starting awareness activities, trying to realize that this is an issue which really need to be addressed. And then we will be very happy to help participants or the people in our region on this issue. Well, and also, if you have any question, you can please ask me. And we hope that we will be able to discuss and then continue our activities, awareness activities on microplastic. One more thing I wanted to add to this, that all our awareness activities have been generating quite a lot of interest. And the participation of our activities is very high. And we hope that this will continue. We had to send you one, this information regarding the poster competition. we wanted to have a poster competition on awareness activities where one could contribute the posters. We have received number of posters from Philippines, from Thailand, from India, and from Nepal. And we request all other countries also to contribute and send the posters so that we send the posters so that we can use them into our activities and then also use them into our website and so and so. Okay, if you have any question to ask, please. Any question? Chat box, I cannot see the chat box here. Okay. Any question? Hi, everyone. Okay. I will mail the presentation to all participants today. Hi, Ahmed. How are you?
Hi.
Happy to see you. And you know that Maldives is a very Maldives is a place where a lot of microplastic is accumulating. Okay, hello. Any question? Any? Bill, how is the situation in Australia regarding microplastic?
Pretty much the same as you guys have. We, CSR, have done a lot of research in microplastics, and what they're doing is they're tracing it back to the source. So we basically now are encouraging people not to buy plastics, not to throw plastics in wastewater streams, and that's probably the most common approach. But nearly all the large stores and supermarkets now have banned single-use plastics. So, and even for fruit and vegetables, now they're going down that line. So if you want, a bag for your groceries, you need to buy a paper bag or buy one that you can use frequently.
Okay. So Ahmed, Shan, what is the situation in Maldives?
Sorry?
How is the situation? You are in the environment department. How is the situation for the microplastic in Maldives?
Microplastic has been a major issue in Maldives, and we are also going towards banning of single-use plastic. So since last, if I'm not mistaken, last year July or this year July, I think. So the government has banned certain kinds of plastic, but now we are in the grace period of things that already had been imported. We are using, but we cannot import it anymore, like the single-use plastic bags, and there is a phase-out procedure going on for plastic bottles also. So the thing is, the government has come up with a plan that certain sizes of plastic bottles will be banned from the middle of next year. So to reduce the amount of plastic waste. So the thing is, for Maldives, we depend on import for everything except fish. I think fish also we do import now. So there's a lot of plastic coming in.
Great.
And there's no place that it could.
Because we understand that Maldives is the most having most of the
export the plastic now. So there is a limitation of the plastic that's going into the oceans, but still we have a lot of plastic, and there are studies carried out in Maldives by different parties regarding on these microplastics, and quite a number of work is been going on.
Okay. Another thing, Shan, you have to send me the country report this year, at least, about this some of the activities of the globe.
Yeah, I'll send it in, but next week I won't be at office. I'm leaving on Sunday. I'll be back on around 31st or maybe the 2nd of January. I'll be in field.
Okay.